Welcome to the channel. My name is Jodie Knight. You can find my live portfolio over on eToro. The link is in the description below for that. But in this video here, we're going to talk about PayPal's price action. We're going to look at the daily chart, the weekly chart. We're also going to take a look at the open options interest. As well as that, we'll talk about my price targets, where I'm going to add, where I'm going to trim, all that good stuff, fair value and all that. On top of that, though, we're going to have a quick look at the general market, what's happening. We're going to look at the economic data from yesterday and what's coming today. And then also we'll take a look at some PayPal news if I can find any. If not, we'll find something else interesting to talk about briefly. Happy Boxing Day, everyone. I hope everyone had a great Christmas day, ate lots of food, got lots of great gifts, and hopefully no fighting in the family. Wearing a new hat today. Got it from my wife. Love it. Her cousin plays for Hanover, so I'm not just randomly supporting some German team, just to clarify. There is a reason why we support them. PayPal, that's what we're looking at today. So there was some PayPal news over the last few days regarding honey. If you're not aware of that, you probably might want to go do a little bit more research on what's happening with that. There's loads of people putting out content related to it, but we'll touch on it a little bit in the news section. Price wise though, PayPal's actually holding up really well. Let me move this so we can see the chart a bit better. So the drop here really was kind of broad market based, and since then we've had quite a few green days, but mainly just chop. Now the broader market's got some issues, a lot of stuff coming out that's not ideal. Obviously worries with the Fed and what they're going to do in inflation. Kind of what we're seeing now is there's a reason why people don't trust in governments and stuff, because when power shifts, there's a lot of stuff that they're just biting their nose to spite their face, really, and they're not really thinking about the people or the country. They're just laying traps, is what it seems like. So this is going to cause more uncertainty and chop in the market. Liquidity's drying up. Long term, I'm not too concerned about it. I think as things start to smooth out, we'll start picking back up again. But I think there's potential for more downside. But we'll see in the new year how that's going to shake out. Price wise, specific for PayPal though, let's take a look at the chart. So we got this volume shelf here. It's not the biggest, but it is doing a valiant job of holding us up. Movements to the downside though, we've now got the $85 range and then the kind of $82 range. We'll look at the options market and that'll give us a better guide on what the big boys are thinking on this one. I thought price would drop more given the honey news and the potential brand damage that could happen, but maybe the market's a bit more understanding of the fact that this is something that happened under Schulman, not Alex Chris. But the main primary support under this is going to be this bull market band. It's thin, so it's not going to offer too much support. And then underneath that, we've got the Whopper shelf, kind of $74. I would love price to fall down that much so I could buy more. I've talked about it in the last few videos. I'm going to start making monthly deposits so I can capitalize as the market pulls down. To the upside though, 95 again, solid target, and $100. I think the last few times we've looked at the options market, that's been kind of the key area that a lot of people are looking at. I'm still super bullish on PayPal, even with this news coming out. I think it's something that can and should be solved relatively quickly. And $124 is kind of the price range I'm looking at. So we're pretty far away from that, so I'm not worried about this one. I actually would like this one to be a bigger position, but I wouldn't add on to it until the honey thing is kind of dealt with, just because this company's already struggled so much with sentiment. If sentiment kind of goes the other way again, it's going to be tedious, and I've been in this one for a long time, even though just lately it's been really worth it. RSI though, kind of neutral, could go either way. MACDX Plus looks really good. We're getting a lot of overbought signals, so getting a bit extended, but institutions still living it, and flow is kind of neutral as well. Let's take a look at the weekly when it loads. So weekly here, I mean, on weekly we are getting a little bit overheated on the RSI, so some cool off or at least chop in this area should be fairly nice. MACDX Plus also looks good on the weekly, and flow looks good on the weekly. Volume has been falling off though, so we're starting to get quite extended here. Not too much. It's not the most exciting stock chart. I probably wouldn't be buying too much now if I didn't already have a position on this one, just because of some of the concerns. But I do think the ads business still is going to be really big next year. Okay, so open options interest for PayPal. We've got quite a lot of interest in going higher, kind of topping out at 9,450. And then, so 90 is going to be a real tough level to break above. Market makers are going to want to sell it off on there, but not a big expected move coming. Obviously, that could change with this honey news or something like that. Support to the downside. I can see why 82 has been selected. Let's push it out week, see what we're looking with. So a lot more volume kind of in this range. So options tell me right now that there's going to be more kind of chop than anything, but sentiment could change that dramatically. Really big downside interest there. So there's not a whole lot of volume on these charts, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure there was the last time I checked. I have to go back to an old video and double check, but a lot of the longer dated stuff seems to have dropped off. Let me put it out to January 2026. Take a look. 95. So interesting. Certainly some de-risking going on by the looks of it in the options market. A lot less interest to upside price action. There's just no volume here, which I don't like. But again, might be the smart play given the market at the moment and the headwinds in the short term. So just a quick look through the honey issue. A lot of people calling it a scam. Kind of. But it's important to remember this isn't Alex Chris's PayPal. This is something that was set up when Schulman was in control. It's not a part of the company that I've been building into my models. I think the profits have been fairly negligible, if anything. It's not a reason I invest in the company, and I would expect, given the fat trimming that we're seeing Alex Chris do after this debacle, I would think it would be quite likely that he might either just sell it off or shut it down. But it seems not worth the hassle at this point, really. I don't know if it says in this little blip here, but basically what they're doing is they're replacing some code and claiming commissions for something that they're not actually doing, which is not great. Let me just check my notes, see if I put anything else on it. One thing that I didn't like was that I hadn't seen any comment from PayPal regarding this, and it's been a couple of days, I believe. And normally Alex Chris on Twitter is like all over it, so maybe there's a bit of panic going on behind the scenes, or they're just waiting to do something particular. So yeah, I don't think I put really any other notes. I mean, the main concern with this isn't that it's going to be a big money loser for them. It's more the image. Alex Chris has worked really hard to turn the ship around, and having some bad news, bad press like this, it's not ideal. But I think as investors, we really need to remember this isn't something Alex Chris has put in place. This is something from Schulman, and maybe it's not something Alex Chris was ideally looking at, but he's probably looking at it now, isn't he? Big picture, though, doesn't really change anything about PayPal for me. It doesn't change what I think is going to be key drivers in 2025 with the ads business and the fast lane expansion and all that stuff. So for me, I'm still super bullish on PayPal. This, I think, is just a blip and a really annoyingly timed one, but we'll have to wait and see. For now, the market doesn't seem to be pricing in anything negative from this, but that could escalate if we see some, let's boycott PayPal stuff happening on X. So keep searching, but for now it seems not to have escalated too much, but fingers crossed. Yeah, I think that was it. Let's have a look at the macro data. Let's see what lovely delights we can find there over the Christmas period. Initial jobless claims for today. Oh, we've actually got some in as well because I'm doing my video later. That's a nice treat. Actual came in at 219 forecast, so less jobless claims. Continuing jobless claims came in higher. So less people leaving work, but more not able to get back in. 4-week average is kind of on par. Money supply. Let's take a look at this one. So M2 it's coming back up. Can't hate that. A little bit of liquidity got to come from somewhere. China's sucking it out. More bill auctions. Fed balance sheet. Take a quick look. So balance sheet runoff continues as well. We're kind of in line for the most part with the data today, so not anything too concerning. Friday, I won't be here Friday. I'm going to Scotland for a few days for a wedding, so I will have my phone but not my laptop if anyone has any questions or anything like that. Goods trade balance, that's going to be crap for a while. Retail inventories excluding autos, so inventories look okay. Wholesale inventories, no, nothing particularly Friday to get excited about anyway, I don't think. But given the choppiness of the market, anything could happen over the next few days. One little bit of fear and everything's going to do a dump. I did want to give people the heads up, though, that I have a couple of things going on in January. We're having our bathrooms done, which would be fine, except we're moving out, and I don't think I want to take all my new computer and stuff with me. So possibly I might do some kind of audio-only videos while I'm staying at an Airbnb. And other than that, I've got a snowboarding holiday at the very end of January, and I will not be taking any laptop or anything with me because I will be so tired. I just won't have time, but I will try and keep on top of messages and stuff like that. That's a wrap. If you enjoyed this content, give it a like. I'm going to go brace myself for the Fed rate decision today. Share this with your mum, your nan, your dad, your dog, and I will see you Monday for Clean Spark and Bitcoin updates.